Hey guys, it's DuconRed1 and welcome to episode 37 of Let's Build Castle Krein. I'm gonna bet you guys are excited for this episode because I am too. Unfortunately, starting out here, I had forgot to turn the replay on in time, so we missed quite a bit of content in making this new entrance. The snail entrance is gone. We now have this new entrance, which I think is more direct and makes more sense and looks better in the end. So stay tuned. I think you guys will enjoy this. So at the joint between the two roads, we add in a tower. This was inspired by Caligath. Caligath has something like this on one of his castles. I get inspired as I go around the Conquest Reforged server, and I see stuff like this all around. It's just absolutely amazing being able to be a part of a community. That's a real good reason to join a server, is this the inspiration of your fellow builders. It's just, I definitely would suggest you guys to do that. But as you can see, we add in a barbican with an extra drawbridge leading into the main gate, which I think turns out really nice. Really happy with how that turns out. And we're using the diorite and the travertine in order to come up with a nice little bit of a palette there with the darker stone towards the bottom. We add those flags on the front and the braziers along the bridge. I was going to make those plants, but I felt like having braziers makes a little more sense because trees are somewhat of a blocking feature, and we don't want to block the lines of fire. So now heading to the back, we start working on the stables section of the castle. Back here, I wanted to make it far more filled in. It just was a little too open back here, and it didn't really work for me. So I take out that tower, and we add in those buildings. So through trial and error and adjustments, and we continue just to work this out. You know, this takes a while, but we have to cut away all the terrain around the backside, and we got to do all kinds of crazy stuff in order for me to be happy with this thing. It's just like a lot of work went into making this actually look somewhat nice. But as you can see, I cut away that terrain. Even by the end of this episode today, we don't finish back here, but we will eventually. It just will require a good bit more of work in order to get that done. But yeah, on the other side, we go ahead and start working on the actual courtyard. I like how the inside of the courtyard looks by the end of the episode. Still a few changes to be done, of course, but this tower right here that we're building is actually probably my most favorite tower of Krein so far. I can't tell you why, I don't know, but just something about it. It's a square tower, but it's somewhat unique in my opinion. I think it's something that I haven't really seen before, something that's been done before. I really do think that this is a somewhat interesting tower because you have the big chimney coming up one of the sides, you have those two little turrets, not really defensive turrets or anything, but sort of like aesthetic, artistic, or just little jut-outs of architecture, and then you have the turret on the front corner. And I really do like how that sort of turns out in the end. So, but yeah, that looks pretty nice in my opinion. But we continue to add in textures. We continue to try to figure out the whole palette value and contrast. Contrast and all that can be a real pain sometimes. But like I always say, in the end, it turns out all right. So this right here, we're making that little extension coming out from the outside. I'm not too sure about that. I think we may end up removing that in future episodes, but we'll see what happens. It's just going to require a little bit of work and a little bit of trial and error. Like usual, that's how Krein seems to... that's just how things sort of work out. So now we're working on the hay loft, or like the barn. This is where all the hay is going to go, and then underneath it's going to be a bunch of stalls for horses. And then on top of here, we're going to go ahead and build some dormers and some little bits of, just extra dormers and some values. And then we connect that stables later on with a little archway with a roof over top. And I think that turns out pretty nice. So let's go ahead and move on. Next, we head to the other side of Krein, to the Barracks courtyard. And you'll notice that we're going to remove that whole section of the barracks right there because I did not like it, wasn't fitting, and it really just had a it did not complement the style that I'm trying to go for. So we just went ahead and removed that, and we start adding in some arcading. Yes, it looks a little bit Romanesque, a little bit classical, but at the same time, there's a little hint of Gothic architecture that really brings it out, and I think looks nice. We add those couple cypress trees in for the color. As you can see, the stairs come up to both sides, and then you have that central platform. The idea is maybe like the Lord or the general can stand up there and address the troops in the courtyard below and sort of like get them pumped up. Maybe like events can be held there or something. We add in some bushes, some greenery, and overall the contrast looks pretty good. Now, we are going to be, of course, adjusting that later on. Coming here to the front of the castle, I wanted to make a terrain concept. I really wanted somehow to represent, figure out what to do with the terrain. It took me a little while to decide and figure out what the palette's going to be, but I think that this turns out pretty nice. We're using the Artocraft granite block, and we're using little layers of stone to represent sort of like a layering kind of style. It adds in a nice little bit of texture as well. And then along the water level, we're adding in that sort of coastal cliff stone, and it's like that darker stone around the bottom. It really looks nice in my opinion. We put grass along the top and gravel along the flow paths, and we fill in with water and sand around some of the beaches. That right there is a little cove and thing like that. So, but I think that this overall is a pretty good terrain palette, and I think that this is going to be what we're going to end up with, because I in the end, once we get this concept done, it does look very nice. The only thing that I want to add more of is trees and foliation and stuff like that. But even with the foliation that we do end up with here on this terrain, does look pretty nice, but still I feel like it would need some more. On the front of the barracks here, I felt like the causeway needed a little bit more area for archers to shoot at from. So there's a little bit more, the defenders can defend better. So we add in this little extension of a curtain wall on the outside of the barracks with that turret on the corner on the joint. And I think that it looks real nice in my opinion. I think those little sort of Gothic spikes coming out of the I guess that's called a brattice or the hoardings. I'm not quite sure what that certain type of wall is called. The covered walls, the little spikes coming out, I think look nice. There's gonna be a garden back there eventually. Maybe, actually, I just caught an idea. Maybe we'll fix that later on. So on the back here, I work on a more of a curved walkway leading up. By the end of this, all of this courtyard, not the end of this episode, but in following Krein episodes, basically everything you're seeing done right now is going to be redone. Well, everything back here, all of that courtyard is going to be redone. And then to end off the building part of this episode, I refuse to allow this gatehouse to be smaller than the main front gatehouse, also for other reasons, which I'll explain later. But as you can see, we make this thing far more grand, and I really like how this ends up. As you can see, we really add in some really interesting architecture. We really fancy it up and everything, and I mean, just look how beautiful this turns out. It's epic and it's intimidating, and I don't think any attacker is going to want to get through that. 37 episodes, and this is how far we have come from our initial plan of just a little castle on a hill. 37 episodes later, that one small little hill turns into 3 mountains, and this is what we have so far. It's just absolutely incredible how much has been done within the past 37 episodes. This has probably been, I mean, if I were to put a ballpark number into how much time has been spent on Krein, it would probably be upwards. I mean, realistically, this content, just building this was 24 hours of building. And we've been building this for about 1.5 years now, so I would say there's probably over 400 to 500 hours spent on just this project, maybe more. I couldn't begin to tell you, because I've spent a lot of time on this. That's pretty much all there needs to be said on that. If you guys want to watch the live streams of me building this, you just got to go ahead and click the links down below, and that'll lead you over to the live streams of which I've built the certain parts in this episode. So like the entrance to the castle, this little extension on the outside where the the curtain wall is, this little bit back here, the gatehouse, and this little back part. All of that can be found on different live streams, so you can go ahead and check that out and see for yourself the process as to which this was built. That being said, we're going to go ahead and walk through Krein now and showcase all that has been done. If you guys want to come see this project for yourself, all you need to do is do /warp Krein on the Conquest Reforged whoops. Where are we? Okay, the Conquest Reforged server, and you could go ahead and check this monstrosity out for yourself. If you guys do not know what the Conquest Reforged mod is, you are really missing out. I mean, just check this out. You press C, C as in cat, and you can open up just this absolute incredible menu for all of these blocks. Every single one of these blocks in your inventory has some variation or another. It's incredible, the amount of work that has gone into this. If you guys do not have Conquest Reforged, go get it right now. You are really missing out. The link is in the description below. You can get it on single player, you can get it on the server, whatever you need to do. Also, remember, you have the replace tool, which can allow you to do crazy things. You do /replace and then for whatever number. You left click a block and then you right click a block, and you can change that to whatever texture you want. Also, if you want the specific ID of a block so that you can use it in world edit or such things like that, you do /tool info, and then you can right click blocks. I have chat off right now, but if I had chat on, it would show the ID for the block, and you can use that. Make sure you use the metadata value as well. But yeah, make sure you guys get the Conquest Reforged mod. It is amazing. So moving on, we're going to look through all of the new additions to Krein. So this is the joint, the elbow joint of the causeway leading up to the castle right now. This right here is the first leading road that leads up to the joint, and then you go across this bridge, which leads to the Barbican and the main gate into the castle. So we're going to go ahead and head up this real quick, and actually we just did that, but as you can see right here, this is a design that I really kind of like. We got to add all kinds of detail to the base of it, all kinds of crap we got to do in here, but hopefully that'll be sorted out by the next episode. We'll see what happens, depends on what we set as our priorities. 24 hours of building was put into this episode. I wanted there to be 30 to 32, but unfortunately I wasn't able to stream today due to technical difficulties. The Conquest Reforged server is undergoing some changes, so make sure you guys go check that out, or come join the server, because there's a lot of incredible features to the server coming here very soon. So I especially like this Barbican right here. I got this idea actually from Uminum. Uminum was making a Barbican for one of his castles that he's doing, and he's a big Barbican kind of guy, and I really wanted to build a Barbican on mine because I was jealous. I was like, you know what, we need a Barbican. I'm really glad we did this as well. It has a really neat aesthetic value and defensive value to the castle overall. And I really like how it turned out. It's a really small little gate. You still have the overlapping fields of fire. As you can see, these fortifications up here you can shoot from. Same thing with up here. There's all kinds of ways to shoot down on this causeway down here. You have this wall here. You have the archways, the belvedere, the tower / turret there on the side. Just all kinds of crazy places to shoot down on the causeway. This Barbican is accessible. The only way to get to the mechanism portion for the portcullis down there is this room up here. And the only way to access this room is from this right here, which will be a very fortified entrance leading into the main gatehouse. So when this is up, this is just like a deep crevasse right here that people could fall into and die. But then once they get past this drawbridge, they'd have to get through all these portcullises and such. All of this in here is going to be changed here soon, so keep that in mind. And then on the front of the Barbican, we have all of these banners that represent like lords of the castle and everything. So really like how that turned out. Very colorful. Also, the terrain, we built it on granite. I really like this. This is a block from Artcraft. Beautiful, beautiful block. All kinds of different types of foliage. I added in these little bushes right here with the heather on them. I really like that with the birch the birch leaves and the spruce leaves. Really cool combination. And we'll be adding in more trees and things like that, like down here. Since this is by the sea, this would all be sort of like salt water. So we have seagulls, a little bit of a cove in here, all kinds of crazy stuff. So I really like how that terrain turned out. If you guys aren't aware, I'm sure I might be corrected by this, but granite is one of the hardest natural rocks that there is. So the idea is that it's an upwelling of magma. So technically, this archipelago that Krein is built on at one time could have been a volcano. And so that granite would have upwelled from the lithosphere, or the lithosphere, I think. And what would happen is that would harden over many, many, many years, possibly thousands of years. It would have hardened. And then all of the surrounding rock, all of the shale and silt and layered rock that would have been laid down by ash and things like that, all the solidified normal rock would have been washed away. And that's how the archipelago was formed. That's how there's all these like deep moats and such around. Now that is a way that I can explain it. Maybe if you guys are geologists or something like that, maybe you guys can explain how this terrain was formed. But I thought that having granite there, I think really has a nice little look to it. Plus, I just think the terrain just looks really nice at this point, so we'll keep it as it is. So I refuse to have the front gate looking better than the gate here. And also I wanted to do this is so that we had a balance going up to that massive round tower right there, which is going to be seeing a lot of improvements in future episodes. So make sure you keep that in mind when you look at this massive red spike into the sky. But yeah, I refuse to have allowed this being just this tiny little gate compared to the main gate. So we made this thing far more impressive. And I really like the overall design. It's very gothic. We're going to be also, of course, adding in more details to this thing to further advance it and really make it fit into Krein. I feel like there needs to be a little bit more contrast value in here too, because there's going to be some banners hanging off of it. Things like that that'll really help it improve. Also, probably better architecture and things like that, because the Gothic architecture is very artistic. Like for that right there, I want more stuff like that, more artistic value and depth to the gatehouse here. So we'll be doing that. Also, we connected this building right here. I know you guys were complaining about this last episode, but I'm pretty happy with how it turned out, and I hope you guys are as well. So definitely some improvements this episode. Now back here is the outside of the stables courtyard, stables district, I guess. There's going to be more or less servants in this area. I really like this tower right here. This is actually probably my favorite tower of the whole build at this point. I just really like the unique sort of design that we went with here. I don't know, it's kind of simple, I guess, but at the same time, I absolutely love it. Because you have like this little walkway up here, all on top of the main wall. I think the wall is actually 3 thick or something like that. You have a belvedere over here, a little hanging turret, and then you have these little, what are these called? They're like artistic little turrets on the outside corners. If you guys know what these are actually called, I would really appreciate that in the comments below. What would you guys call this? Because it's not exactly functional. It's more or less just like a Gothic artistic value to the architecture, just to make it seem a little bit more interesting. Of course, you have the turret on the front, which mostly would be a stair tower, but I think that it just has a really nice value on the front. It looks really cool. Also, we finished these buildings. I'm going to be working on that there. This tree right here is by Loudum. This is a really nice tree. I wanted to add in some Loudum trees, so we might actually see some more trees by him in the future around Krein. But if you guys are not aware, Loudum is making a massive tree pack of over thousands of trees are in this tree pack, and he's been working on it for quite a while. I think it's been like 6 months now that he's been working on it, maybe longer. But it's a really cool tree pack, and I decided I wanted to use at least one of them in the build. So there's one right there. If you guys want to check him out, go find him on his Twitter. His link for that will be in the description below. If I forget, please tell me in the comments below, and I will for sure add that in. But Loudum is making a tree pack, so definitely check that out and go support the man. So on the front here, we added in a curtain wall kind of deal on the outside of the barracks. I really like this. I really like the design. The reason why I built this in the first place was to add a little bit better defensive posture for the castle coming up this causeway right there. Because without that, the only way that you could really shoot down on that causeway was from like this little bastion portion up there and this up here. It seemed just a little bit, it just didn't seem right. I felt like there needed to be some more line of fire on this causeway leading up. So that's what we added that in for. But at the same time, we also added it over here as well. And it really has a neat look to it, especially with that turret there at the joint again. Having turrets at the joints is pretty important for an aesthetic value, because if you just had that sort of round there, it just wouldn't fit in right. But with that little turret, it really fits in with the rest of the castle. Not to mention back here, we have room now for a little courtyard. I'm thinking there could be a tree here or something. And then, like, even during times of war, possibly a trebuchet could be put on here and be able to shoot up over the walls. So having a large courtyard right there can be beneficial for a multitude of reasons for a castle. So I definitely like how that turned out. And I'm really looking forward to adding in more things like that around the castle for sure. So, let's see what else there is to see. So as you guys saw in the replay, we built this little section on the front here, or I'm on the back. I don't even know what section this is, but it's like in the barracks courtyard. I really thought it was a good idea to do something like this because there needed to be that thing we had here before with the sort of castle black stairways heading up to it just didn't work for me. It seemed just a little bit out of place. By doing this, we've really solidified this region, we've connected the buildings, and we've gained a little bit of an artistic value. The architecture is far more interesting versus what we had before. It was a little bit too much wood. And this adds in a lot more stone, so I really like this, especially the arcading here with all these arches. And then I really like this wall at this point as well. That tower right there really fits in quite nicely. And then once we finally finish all of the architecture and texturing, this will really fit in. Like, this is a complete mess right now, but when we finally get around to reworking this and fitting it into the, fitting, like redoing from the conversion mess, once we start getting things a little bit more set in stone, literally, we can, we'll be able to make that look a lot nicer. So just keep that in mind for that. We added in 2 cypress trees because the region this is in is a rather Mediterranean-like climate. A little bit temperate as well, quite a bit temperate Mediterranean, but I wanted some cypress trees because I think that looks nice. You got these few little bushes here along the side, a little bit of greenery. There's going to be more contrast here for sure, but for right now, I think this is a good foundation to start from. And we have this little fortification up here, a little walkway that soldiers can walk along, or even, people that are just trying to access from this building to the other. There's a lot of different reasons for all these different walkways and things. I'm really looking forward to deciding what's going to be in these interiors. But with that said, let's move on. So all of this over here is going to be revised. By the next episode, everything you see on your screen right now is going to be different. There's not going to be a single thing. Actually, no, this over here, I'm going to keep this. My plan is to keep this, at least for right now. I guess I shouldn't limit myself because I feel like if I limit myself, it's always going to change anyways. So I do like how this causeway is right now. It's pretty direct. It looks nice. But for right now, what's going to happen is all of this, like that gatehouse, this like little thing here that looks like a gatehouse for like a tiny castle, all of this is going to be changed. This building right here is probably going to be, instead of at this axis like this, is going to be coming out from the tower here, possibly even redoing this to be diagonal, coming out this way, so that the terrain's going to come out like this and back in, and all of the buildings are going to lead up, just like we did here with the balance for the gatehouse. As you can see, it sort of leads up to the monstrosity of a palace that we have here, because before the balance just wasn't right, especially like you see how tiny that building is and then how massive the Great Hall is, or the Patreon Hall. We want it to do the same thing over here, where things just sort of progressively and get larger, and then it's sort of it just like the value just smoothly transits without this like sudden like bam, and then you're just kind of like, it kind of is awkward. But by that smooth transition, it'll really look nice. Also, we're going to be adding in something of a horn tower in the middle of the courtyard. This was a suggestion by Ithrea, which is actually a pretty unique thing to add into Krein, because a lot of the time, castles like this would have just large bells to signify wartime or like events that are occurring, things like that. So we're going to have like a giant horn tower, like the Hornburg at Helm's Deep, but you know, we'll be making it quite interesting. So I'm super excited for that. Really looking forward to doing that and making some kind of massive horn for Krein. I think that'll be a really unique feature of this castle. But again, this is all going to be different, so super excited to get that all sorted, and hopefully we'll see that in the next episode. You will also notice that the platform in front of the Patreon hall has been adjusted. I didn't like how it was before. I felt like it was too bulky, and also I didn't like, it just seemed a little bit, it didn't seem defensive enough. But by removing that, the door is now going to be over there, and then the throne is going to be on this side, so we can have some larger windows over here, possibly a massive rose window. We're going to have to come up with a pretty interesting design, which I'm sure we'll be able to do. Inspired by Ithrea, of course. She's a builder here on the Conquest Reforged server. Absolutely incredible builder and very inspiring. That's the coolest thing about being a part of this community. There is no end to the inspiration of these builders that are participating on this server. You guys need to come and check out the server, because it's just absolutely insane, the amount of originality and work that goes into the builds here. But yeah, this is Patreon Hall in here. So if you guys want to support me as a Patreon, the link for that is in the description below. Your name will go into here, and make sure that if you become a Patreon, that you post your Minecraft name, that you send me a message with your Minecraft name, and then I will put that on your section. Each of these walls is going to be a certain section. I have Scouts, Warriors, and Legionnaires. Except now it's going to go Scouts, Warriors, Legionnaires. And then we'll have probably one more tier, possibly. Unlikely, though. We'll see what happens. But like I said, if you guys want to support the content that you're seeing now, and you want to see more content coming in the future, that's one way that you can help make that happen. But the main way that you can make that happen is watch these videos. That is a huge help to me, and I really hope you guys stick around and keep on supporting this channel. But yeah, this is the Patreon Hall, and super excited for this, because this project is going to be lasting in the matter of years. So your names are going to be very relevant for a very long time. But I just want to give little shout outs to the current Patreons. These are currently Scouts, $5 Patreons. This is Get to the Chopper, and Kirkland Zdelinski are the $5 Patreons. And then we have Thomas Peters and Nathaniel Reimer. Remember, guys, give me your Minecraft names so that I can put your names in here. And also, you will have your Minecraft heads as part of your areas. So anyways, super excited for that. So I want to thank you guys so much. You guys are awesome. You guys are the reason why I make this content, and I really hope that we can continue to do this, and I really hope you guys continue to watch, because I want to continue, because this is awesome. But what I want to end this episode off doing is saying something that I'm thankful for. Obviously, I'm thankful for you guys, but I want to be thankful for more things. I want to try to end each episode off telling you guys of something that I'm really thankful for. And I want to tell you, I am thankful for family and friends. Friends, I am super thankful for. 2 friends of mine that have been there for me and that are always there for me. Very good friends that stick up for me and support what I do and are always there. In the low times and the good times. Pigland and Victor Comics, those are 2 friends that have been around for a very long time for me. If you guys don't know them, you guys probably don't see Pigland much, but if you guys remember Victor Comics, he was on Ravend. He built the city of By Hill. He also did the Todd's Adventures and everything. He and I are real good friends, and we talk a good bit. We also did a vlog together, but hopefully he'll be able to come back to America sometime. We'll be able to make another vlog, but one way or the other, those are 2 amazing friends, and I just want to give a huge shout out. Surround yourself with good friends, guys. Those friends are what's going to mold you and make you into the person that you are. Friends, don't matter what they are, if they're good influences or bad influences. you know, just try to surround yourself with good friends, and also family. My family is amazing. My wife is amazing, supportive. It keeps me going. She's always there for me, and she's always making sure that everything is going well. She's always there giving me suggestions for the channel, and, you know, even more than that, just life in general is an absolute incredible experience being married. So just want to get that out there, guys. Thankful for friends and family, and maybe you guys would like to comment down below what you were thankful for. But stay positive, guys. That's what's important. That's what's going to keep you going through life. But anyways, if you like this video, guys, hit that like button down below, comment, and subscribe for more, because there's a lot more content to come. But with that said, guys, have a great day, have a great night. I will see you on the next one. Till then, bye-bye.